Alrighty then. Better late than never, as they say. The show must go on, and all that. So, whistle stop recap. Last time, you guys realised that Neo's body would be too heavy to transport in a bag of holding, so Stix and Arwen returned to Elion while Klari stood guard over it with Elvis the Elk. You went to the college and found one of the archivists, Koleth, working late. He escorted you to the medical facility where you met that wasn't her name. I don't know what my iPad has recorrected her name to, but it's definitely not Pentranilla. I think it was probably Petronella or something like that. We'll go with that. Who was caring for a patient who had been doing some experiments and his potion had exploded on himself, causing him some difficulties. But she sent another healer, Maria, with you. And between the four of you, you took one of the resource carts that they have for transporting into on a journey a couple of hours back through the woods to the watchtower to try and heal Neo. Meanwhile, Klari, who was standing watch, encountered a glowing white elk with blue eyes that seemed to come to investigate the battle field around the watchtower, sniffing at the bodies of the stone cursed and at Neo and things like that. Claire was successfully hid from it and then surprised it, managing to speak to it and persuading it to help unpetrify Neo, informing her that eventually this petrification seems to have been temporary and would have worn off. But unfortunately no one knew that because all the other stone cursed had been reanimated by this hag which you guys killed the session prior. The next morning, after staying in the watchtower, reinforcements arrived, and exhausted from your activities over the night, you guys set off the next morning. Encountering a welcoming walking cafe, temporarily riding in that for a brief period, before it seemed to move in the wrong direction, and you guys leapt off as it was mid-stride, and carried on making your way north. And this is where we find you all, in the middle of the woods, making your way north, all a little bit exhausted from the night before. A little bit pepped up on some sugary baked goods, but not too much the worse for wear after your adventures. The four of you walking on together, riding Elvis and Lloyd Cedric between you know, the two summoned mounts of the paladins, making your way north, and the area begins to feel familiar to you, Stix. Not in a visual perspective, but just in a way things feel. You know, different areas of the woods have different feelings once you get to know them as well as you do, as someone who spent as much time there. And so you start to feel like you're getting closer. During your training, you would certainly range for several days at a time sometimes, and would come this way in various other ways, and you get that sense of closeness to the environment. You know, it's like coming home to a certain extent, but you're not quite there yet. You're still probably a day or more away at this point, so you've got a little ways to go. So we'll kick things off. Can everyone make a survival check? Or if you have another skill that you would like to use for navigation or survival purposes that you can think to use, you can use that in its place.
I'm gonna survival.
We do have some quite proficient survivalers.
Is it disadvantage?
If you have a level of exhaustion, then yes, it is disadvantage.
Didn't even matter.
Okay, so the journey is slower, but you're all just taking it easy as you rest. Sort of on the backs of your mounts, moving at a more sedate yet comfortable pace to avoid anything. As you sort of doze in the saddle a little bit and things like that. Is there anything you would like to be talking about, discussing on your way?
I'm probably keeping quiet, trying to think through what I'm going to say and stuff like that.
Try and make Lloyd Cedric go faster so I can poke Stix and go, hey. How awkward is it going to be? Hey.
Probably incredibly. I'm not sure this has been done before. I think usually it's a case of once you join these sorts of things, or I guess I don't really join it. I guess I was sort of forced into this thing beyond my will. But there we go. I didn't mind up until recently, and now I kind of mind.
I mean, what happened?
Well, basically, I was a very little babby. Not babby. I was just young. Don't know how old I was. It was like 10 or something. No, I think like 10 or 12. And my dad was a dick. And I got this thing from him, and I punched the scar on my face. I just go, I'd sort of had enough of everything, so I ran off. The only sad part was I didn't really, I'd never really been anywhere outside. That's the forest, so I just sort of kept running and found myself lost. And then a bunch of big beasties came after me. But the woman thankfully saved me. Took me in. Noticed I was playing with Stix, apparently. Called me Stix. And I guess over time, I just developed a love for the sort of the area around me and everything like that. And I don't ever remember her asking me to stay, but at the same time, I don't really ever remember wanting to leave. So it was sort of just a mutual thing of, well, I guess I'll stay. And then eventually she just decided to train me. Like, she figured if you're staying here, might as well train you for this thing. She informed me what it was. But, yeah. And I just sort of trained for a long while. It was very boring. Because when you only live with one person and a load of different animals, there's only so much conversation that can go around. There's only so many jokes and so many games of I Spy one can play before everyone starts to guess that L is leaf, T is tree, G is grass, and so on and so forth. I tried to get it with G is green once, but she informed me that's not an object, that's a colour.
She's cheating.
And that's the day I learned about Divine Smite.
Nice.
and then just sort of things just sort of went from there. She was never weird. She was never very comforting. She was never like a mum. She was more like a teacher that was sort of forced into keeping a student for a while. It was weird. Yeah, it was only me. Don't know why it was only me. That was always very confusing. But I guess that was just a thing. I guess just that's the thing of us. And the sort of plan is that I was sort of told like, okay, like go out, see the world, because I guess once you see the world, you get more. I think they were hoping that, or she was hoping that I'd go out and see the world and then get more respect or whatever for what was here. But it just sort of made me realize that this is a very small area, and there's a very big world of stuff out there that also needs protecting and has problems. And sitting in this forest alone for many, many years would fucking kill me. I don't know what she's gonna do. So like, I don't really know how it works. I think I come back and then I'm just sort of like here. I finish off some bits of training and then I'm done. But I don't fucking know. Like, I can't imagine she'll be very. But there we go. So yeah. Or according to JJ's earlier message, she will. Oh, that. She'll be possessed by a demon with the 5 fingers of death.
Yeah.
And
in retaliation for Ben trying to kill me yesterday.
hey, just roll better. Shut
That is a fair point. God awful night last night.
So yeah, that's basically me. Now you know everything. Huzzah! Hurrah! There we go.
I'm all-knowing.
All-knowing and everything. So yeah, hopefully we can sort this out real quick. Get on back home. Not home, but get on back to the council. See what they're up to, if they've made a decision. Get on that mountain, see if we know anything more, and then Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and everything goes perfectly. Don't know who Bob or Fanny are, but apparently they're your uncle and aunt.
This is news to me.
So, time passes, and you all enjoy the pretty fine day that it is as you push on. As the sun starts to drop, move around behind you and drop into the west. It starts to get dark, and you start looking for a place to rest. Stix, you know the area reasonably well and estimate that you're not too far away from a small ruin that in your time you remember to be not too much more than a ring of stones, sort of overgrown by moss and things like that. A few bits of dilapidated like milling machinery, like there was a couple of large grinding wheels and things used to rest in the middle of it. And some large like steel cogs that had been fashioned to help form some of the equipment, or rusted and things like that. And you reckon an hour or so's more travel, and you could potentially find that as sort of a landmark and give you a little bit of shelter, walls. Or you guys can rest out in the open. It's up to you, find somewhere else. There's potentially other places around you could look for.
Think if I know a place, probably best, to go where you know, kind of thing. Go face some dangerous shit in the evenings, in the night time. Stuff has nearly killed me. Many a time. So let's go.
Yeah. So you travel on a little bit further and you find what you think you're looking for, and you realise that a bit of work has gone on actually in this area. Some of the trees that had encroached close over the years. Indeed, you remember a particular sapling that had grown up in the middle, and would have one day stood as a mighty oak. But when you approach, you can see that a little bit of the area around has been cleared, and the stones themselves have been cleaned up. The moss that was covering them has been cleaned off, and indeed there seems to be already one or two more rings building this structure back up, it seems.
Interesting.
Fully built.
No, there's only been a very small amount of construction.
Well, someone living close. I mean, someone's like, reconstructing this place. It's probably worth, maybe seeing if they know of Amber. Seeing if is it even still here. That would probably be a good start. Hope she's not dead. That'd be a very disappointing way to get back in. What are we thinking? Do we want to pop in and see who's here, or do we want to scoot round them and find somewhere else?
No, we can just stay here. See
Yeah.
if there's anyone about. If not, this is our bed.
I'll approach.
Yeah, as you get close, you can see a very thin wisp of smoke. It seems to be curling up from a campfire. Indeed, the smell of the smoke in the air just drifts slightly across the clearing towards you. You can't see anyone immediately, but from the edge of the clearing. But as you step into the clearing, you can hear what sounds like humming and the sound of chopping, like a knife on a chopping board.
Do I recognize the sound? Like the voice? Is it male? Is it female? Is it?
The voice is male.
The voice is male. Okay. Yeah. I'll approach. Just say hello. Hello.
The humming stops, the chopping stops, and standing up from behind the wall is an elf, you see. Short, close-cropped, dark hair, a little bit of a... elves don't grow much facial hair, but a little bit of facial hair. Is a bit rough and unkempt, seems to be wearing relatively low-quality clothing. Figures out, oh.
Hi. Sorry, I haven't been back to these parts in a little while. But I don't quite remember this well, but I remember this area was quite downtrodden and, not visited in a very long time. Who might you be?
My name is Bohai. Who are you?
My name is Stix. Hello. I'm a friend of, do you know Amaris? She's around here. Are you aware of a person named Amaris?
Not met anyone. I'm part of a little scouting group.
Scouting group?
Yes, we are looking for a new place to settle.
A new place to settle.
We used to live a little bit further north, but it's no longer possible.
Yeah, why wouldn't that be possible?
Giants.
Giants.
Yes.
Oh, giants!
Why is it always
Guns!
Giants. Unfortunately, a group of frost giants that lived on the coast has moved in a little bit, and so rather than get into a conflict we feel we cannot win, a few of us have sort of pushed out and decided to look for somewhere else to stay. I discovered this stone circle. I'm guessing the remnants of some sort of windmill. I've been here a couple of days, sort of cleaning it up, inspecting the area around and things like that, and we'll see. Tomorrow or the day after, I intend to travel back north and report what I found.
interesting? Okay. If you're part of a scouting group, so where are the rest of you?
Well, 4 or 5 of us went off scouting individually, so as a group we sort of spread out looking for. I probably have travelled the furthest. It's about 4 days to reach here in a vaguely southwesterly direction. But,
I see.
There's a stream nearby that I suspect is what initially once fed this windmill. A small river was, you could maybe get some supplies up and down potentially. But a place that's been settled before is hopefully settleable again, I figure. So I will report back and see what the others have found. They might have found a more likely spot.
Unless it was once taken over by ghosts. Woo!
Encountered any ghosts here that I know of?
Okay.
Haven't things
The wind does whisper in the trees.
That's the ghosts for you.
You haven't encountered ghosts yet, good sir. Trust me, as a guy who's lived here for many, many years of his life, there are strange things that happen within this forest that, well, are beyond even my comprehension.
Maybe we should stay with you for the night to protect you, sir.
Indeed, yes. You're welcome to share my fire for an eve.
Look at me, making friends. Oh,
Friendship based on lies and ghosts.
Friendship based on lies about ghosts are the most loyal friendships of all. Well, I don't have much, but you're welcome to share a little bit of what I've got. And add anything to it. I've got the beginnings of quite a meagre soup going, but if you have anything you wanted to add to flavour it up, that would be quite pleasant.
I have a dwarf's diary.
I'm okay. I will. I have my own rations. I will feast on this evening.
Fish acorn, anyone?
Fish acorn.
You need that for a spell.
I know.
If you eat that,
I'm
that's like a
going to eat
250 gold spell component. Don't eat
I
that.
know.
I mean, you can eat it if you want.
Being polite, offering it to the group.
You can eat it if you want.
No.
You then have to get another one though.
Smells. Just going at the bottom.
Technically, it's still in her person,
Yeah, but only for about 8 hours.
and then she can recollect it.
Actually, probably only sort of more for like 4 hours until it's digested beyond.
What if it then absorbs into my body?
No.
And then never needs the spell component again.
No. If you want it in your body, you'll have to like
Bury it.
snap it in and stick it like in a pocket of skin.
Ooh.
And, yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't want a smelly acorn. Fish acorn in my
Like
arm.
people that get subcutaneous implants to like reshape their skin, and they put like letters under their skin or something. Or
No.
some people have done it to get like horn bumps
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff
I've
like
seen
that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Or when you put pliers underneath the carpet.
I had to pull up the carpet to see which way the ceiling, see which way the floorboards run, so I know which way the ceiling joists run, because we're going to have a wall taken down internally. And I accidentally left the pliers underneath the carpet when I put the carpet back.
Ah!
So I was going around going, where are the pliers? And then I stood on them. So then I had to pull the carpet up again. So, you guys settle in. Bohai continues to, or returns to, chopping up a couple of potatoes for his stew. Looking at it, you can see he's got a small pan suspended on a tripod over the fire, and it does indeed look like quite a sort of weak and watery stew that he's making for himself.
Dude, just make some mash or something.
Just make some mash.
It's much more appetizing to look at.
There's a few sort of like herbs and things have been sprinkled in there.
Herbie mash.
Other than that, there's not a lot going on.
Mashed potato.
Mashed potato, mashed potato, mashed potato, mashed
Stix starts singing to himself.
He's lost his mind.
He does.
The
He's got his,
expression's got to his head.
blew out and he's like,
Mittens is going to have to get some pan flutes or something you can play with one hand now. Now he's lost an arm.
like a mini bagpipe.
Yeah.
Told you, find a starfish.
It's a bag.
Yeah, Abby's plan was find a starfish and get it to grow me a new arm. Because, starfish can regrow limbs.
Yeah. Then you can have a starfish arm.
I see. Anyway, getting back to the task at hand.
How would that connect to him, though? Like, how would that... when you're effectively doing it, is cutting off the arm of a starfish, what do you get grow back and go, that's neat. I wish I could do that. Oh, well.
So you guys begin setting up for the evening. Rolling out your bedrolls, maybe collecting a bit more firewood and things like that, stoking it so it's a little bit larger for all of you to gather around. And slowly while away the evening. Night comes, you begin to all settle down in turn. Bohai offers to take the first watch.
As we're all settling down, and as we're all sort of like just chilling out, I'm just gonna turn to the group, and I'm just gonna like whisper to everyone, watch him.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay, well, someone needs to. I think I'll try and... Okay. Here's what I
Okay,
do.
are we going to set up a watch between us?
Yeah, but what I was gonna do is I was gonna skunk him.
Oh, bloody hell.
I was-
How is that going to help?
I was gonna skunk him so that he is distracted, and then I was gonna turn to the group and I was gonna go, oh, what is that smell? Everyone, watch this guy. And yeah, Because, I mean, if we're all sat in a corner, how awkward is it just look if I just whisper to all of you, we need to watch this guy? Like, how obvious is that?
Well, there is enough to be getting on with during the evening of collecting firewood, setting up bedrolls, those sorts of activities that Stix you could reasonably find opportunity to speak to your companions.
No, he's done it now.
I'm skunking now.
Couldn't have just waited till we all like led in our beds that are basically next to each other and just whispered, you know.
Hey, I like the leg room, man's.
Well, you can lay on the edge.
Next to each other, not piled onto each other. Still have leg room.
No, I mean like a star.
Stix is now a starfish.
I sleep with Elvis. Elvis lays down and then I just sort of sit on Elvis and just use like a big flowery pillow or leafy pillow. Very uncomfortable. He's made of wood and branches, but he doesn't mind. He sleeps.
Does he? Or does he just close his eyes and then open them and then close his eyes?
I mean, I think he has to sleep. I mean, he's still a thing. Like the phase sleep.
Yes, but he doesn't eat.
So
Things eat.
he eats light.
I thought you said
He's
like
covered in
grass.
leaves. No, he eats light. He's like covered in leaves and branches and shit.
But flowers don't sleep.
Yeah, but he's a living flower. The tree sleep.
So he photosynthesizes.
Yeah.
Some
JJ.
flowers do have a thing where they like close their petals and things like that at night. So
Because there's
What-
no light.
I'm assuming Elvis would have to sleep.
yeah, I mean, I think so.
Even if
Either
it's that.
that, or he gets his rest when he's desummoned.
Yeah.
But if you kept him around continually for a long time, he would have
Like it's
to
that
rest.
elven trance thing, you know? Where they don't sleep, but it just goes into a motionless trance of just sitting there, being all tree-y. Not really a trance, he's just sort of looking at me and going, ooh, okay, he's got his eyes shut and he's still going with that.
So, are you doing your most potent skunking, or is this
I'm
more
doing
of a,
Like
or
a
more
half.
of a, oh, someone's ripped a terrible fart,
This
but it'll
is
go away in a little
this
bit.
is more of a skunk, but a skunk that's like not extremely close.
Okay.
You know, like a half skunking.
Okay. So it's more
Which
like
is-
a waft on the breeze than a
Yeah.
gone off in his face.
Yes. That I feel would be too
Okay.
obvious.
So you cast a spell
It's
while he's not looking, and indeed it does waft through the area, and he just sort of wrinkles his nose and like coughs into his hands and sort of wafts and tries to like clear the air in front of his face as his smell reaches his nostrils, and giving you an opportunity to whisper your warning to everyone that you think you should watch it.
watch.
So he offers to take the first watch in the evening.
And I too will join him.
Okay.
Watch. Yeah.
He
Uh,
accepts your offer, and the two of you watch. I'll take the first watch. Make a perception check with advantage.
Oh, probably need that advantage. No, I don't. I'm a god.
while you're keeping watch, Stix, you keep your eyes equally fixed on Bohai and your surroundings. He seems content. He has a small journal that he takes a little bit of time to write in. You can't see what he's writing in the dim light, but he has a little bit of. He takes a little bit of time to do it, and then sort of posts himself on the opposite side to you, sitting on the half wall, sort of feet hanging off the edge, just looking around. Gets his like blanket and wraps it quite tightly around himself. And he's got a short bow as well that he takes and just sets up. Puts like a quiver of arrows on the ground between his feet and puts his bow on the wall next to him, and just seems content and just sits and watches. And so he doesn't seem to notice anything, but as the darkness rolls in, the evening goes on, you hear the sound of something heavy sort of moving through the trees. It's too far for your dark vision to make out, but it seems to be off towards the side where you're doing most of your watching. There is something heavy moving. There's kind of like a dragging to it. It's like a footstep and a footstep, but in between or alongside the footsteps there seems to be some sort of dragging as well, like whatever it is can't support its entire weight off the ground and is shuffling along or something like that.
Can I get up and I'll draw my sword and I'll use my divine sense. If it's undead, fey, or fiend. No, celestial, fiend, or undead.
You don't sense any of those within 60 feet of you?
What can I say?
As you draw your sword, Bohai hears the sound of it being drawn internally. Did you see something? Do you hear something?
I can hear something. Hold on. Stay here, and I'll just nudge, like, Klari and Arwen on my sort of like walking past. Try and sort of step outside the ring of the sort of half wall and investigate. Got my shield out as well, sort of like tell him to stay there with his bow. Gander.
Yeah. Make another perception check. Straight roll this time. Well, disadvantage this time because you are exhausted still.
Bastard. Perception 15.
Okay. You hear the sound and it's moved a little bit. The location you first heard it sort of shifted in a southwards direction, a fraction. Sort of maybe like 10, 20 degrees. If you were looking in a circle around. You guess it's probably on a path to. You got an 8, didn't you? Oh, whatever. Said it now. On a path to bypass where you guys are, rather than a path to intersect.
Sorry, so yeah, I've seen something on a path that's sort of like.
You're still just hearing, not.
Oh, okay. Okay, still just hearing. It's on a sort of like path to potentially.
Yeah. So if you guys are, you guys are here, it seems like it's coming past. Doesn't seem to have noticed you.
Okay.
Or if it has noticed, it doesn't seem interested.
I'm gonna step a little closer, but sort of like try and hide.
Okay.
Myself to
make a stealth check.
Trying to further my investigation, but also
17.
hide.
Yeah, so you move 10, 20 foot, and slowly something comes into view. You see noticeable, like, sort of crushed bushes and things like that where this thing has moved through. And following that with your eyes, you quickly pick out, as you've drawn closer, a long, scaly black body.
Ew.
Low slung to the ground, similar to like a crocodile or something like that in shape, but moving with these heavy, like slow, determinate footsteps, and then almost like dragging its body across rather than its legs like holding it up. They seem to, its tail seems to be like dragging behind it and things like that, which seems to be the thing that's making this rustling noise across the ground as it sort of steps, and then this long, scaly black tail drags behind it.
Would I happen to know what this thing is?
You can make a nature check for me.
Go.
Yeah. So, looking at it, you move around a little bit so you can see it more in profile, still remaining undetected, and you get a look at the head, and the head has draconic-ish features, but the body shape is different. The legs are shorter and stubbier. It's much lower to the ground, like a crocodile or something like that, and there's certainly no wings. This is a drake rather than a dragon.
I thought it was a worm. What's the worm one? Is that called a worm?
You mean a worm with a Y, W-Y-R-M.
Yeah,
Worm.
a worm.
Yeah, it's just
The word.
the word for dragon.
Oh,
essentially.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
There are great worms, which are like the biggest fucking dragons you'll ever see.
Oh, I thought they were the ones that didn't have wings.
They might be in a different form of mythology.
Oh, fair.
I think it's kind of like the difference between dragon and wyvern and
Yeah.
what have you. Anyway, so you recognise this to be a drake, and a black one at that.
And how big is it? Did you say?
It looks to be about 15, 20 feet from nose to tail.
Okay, not.
It's quite powerfully muscular.
But yeah. We don't need any heat. I'll just stay sort of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Watch pass. And probably
Yeah.
stay out here a little while, even after it's passed, just to make sure it doesn't come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you watch for another few minutes, and it moves off out of sight, and then eventually the sound of it disappears, and all you hear is the rustle of smaller nighttime creatures that you can pick out. Maybe the soft hooting of an owl, but nothing else seems to disturb the rest of your watch.
Okay. In that case, I will specifically wake up Klari
Mm-hmm.
for the next watch and ask if she can put some alarms down so that if this thing were to come near again, if it's like picked up a scent or anything like that we can make sure it doesn't. Oh yeah, we haven't long rested since the tower. I mean, you can use a second level spell for a third level spell for a first level.
You did you long? I can't remember. Did you long rest? No, you
That's
didn't.
why we're exhausted.
Well, your exhaustion was because of how late you guys all essentially stayed up.
And then we didn't get enough of a long rest, otherwise the exhaustion would be gone.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, everyone's missing hit points and spells and stuff like that still.
Yeah, I don't have much.
Yes.
In which case?
I can put 2 down if I can use.
Yeah. Yes, you can. At a lower level. Well, that is if you want to, obviously. Suggestion. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I'll tell her that and then head on to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Clary, if you're taking the next watch, then as you sort of like come back and begin to settle down, Bohai starts doing the same. He asks you, what did you see anything?
It was like a drake. Ever heard of a drake?
No, I've never heard of such a thing.
It's like a dragon, but without wings, and a lot smaller.
Even in the darkness, you can see he sort of visibly pales, as you mentioned, dragon.
I think as long as we don't bother it, it shouldn't bother us. Though I've asked my friend to put down some alarm spells just in case it happens to come back. So we'll be ready to notice it. But
Okay, good. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So do not fear. I would get some rest.
I'll do that. That's good to know that such a thing is around here. Maybe we won't move here if that's the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clary, you can take your watch. You can set alarms if you'd like to.
Yeah. So I've only got 2. I put in the general direction that Ben saw.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put them on the sort of east side. No, sorry. Yeah, the east side of it, and
And I make them mental ping ones.
Yep. So they'll just wake you. That's fine.
Obviously, any of us apart from the stranger with us.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. And then, can you roll a perception check for me? 7. So you take a bit of time, you focus on setting your alarms, and when you do so, you almost become sort of fixed on watching that area. And then you almost catch yourself focusing too hard on a single spot for too long, and you quickly look around and don't see anything around you, and then you go back to sort of staring in that direction, watching for anything coming that matches the descriptions Stix gave you. But your time passes, you don't see any danger during the night, your alarms haven't gone off yet. So you can pass your watch on to the next one. Neo or Arwen.
I can do it.
Okay. Roll a perception check for me, Arwen. 22.
Good.
Okay. You begin watching, waiting, looking around, watching how you do, maybe slowly sort of getting up to stretch your legs so you don't get too stiff, walking around a little bit, and you do catch a little bit of restlessness from within inside the Ring of Stones. And looking inside, you can see that Bohai doesn't seem to have found a comfortable sleep. He keeps sort of like raising his head a little bit and looking around, but he can't see he can't see out the stones, and sort of seems to pause for a little bit and listen, and then try and go back to sleep. And he seems quite restless, quite perturbed by the news he's heard. A little ways into your watch, you catch again the sound of something moving through the trees, And as you look in that direction, you see a soft light coming through this. It's almost like a warm white light approaching. And obscured by the trees, but slowly revealed, you see long legs, antlers, white fur, and then blue eyes.
I'm worthy! Woo! I'm good of heart, or whatever it was.
And so humble.
Absolutely.
And this elk doesn't step into the clearing, just is still half obscured by the trees. As you acknowledge its presence, it turns its head towards you. And doesn't seem to respond in any way more than just a little sort of snort from its, you know, and a little like stamp of its hoof. And then it just turns and slowly walks away again.
Why is he stamping at me? What'd I do? Okay, bye.
So that's all that happens during the watch.
Aww.
Unless
Maybe.
there's anything you'd like to do.
What?
I stamp back.
Okay.
I don't know if it's some sort of, you know, sign of appreciation. I don't want
You
to
do that?
insult her.
It notices, you think, but doesn't
Keep
change its
waving.
behaviour in any way. And it slowly just, the light fades and
Oh.
it disappears off again.
Well.
And it moves off in this thing approached from the north. And as it moves off, it moves round towards the east, in the direction where Klari set her traps, potentially pass that information on to you. Not her traps, her alarms, and where essentially it's passed on to you that Stix saw a drake. But disappears out of your sight. Later on, your watch comes to an end. You wake Neo up, he takes his watch, and you guys all awake in the morning. Can take a long rest,
Long.
feeling refreshed from the weariness from the day's travel before, gone.
I miss the long rest buttons.
Me too. I was only there for like one time, but I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know why they brought it and then got rid of it.
It was
I wonder, is it in the thing we
Well, we
Yeah.
looked at the settings and didn't find it.
trades? Dex, tiebreaker, NPC, short global save modifier, skill modifier, field, AC modifier, field, auto level calculations, ignore input buttons, hit points, track.
No, I found it. General options on the right hand side, short and long rest.
Oh wait, where? Where?
The right hand column of settings down at the bottom, just above the launch level 1 thing.
What's piety?
Core.
I don't know.
I think that's a thing for older editions. No, it's a thing for Mythic Odysseys of Theros.
Right.
If you do good things, your gods can give you boons on a level up, and it basically the whole thing is like you choose a god, and then that god will give you boons on a level up. It's like small stuff, like a +1 to your, I don't know, history or whatever, but still kind of cool. Oh.
There's also a track hit dice per class thing for when you multi-class that Arwen has found.
Probably very handy.
Yeah, and I will switch that one over on my other characters tomorrow.
Yeah, and And I will actually tell everyone about the short long rest thing because that will be super fucking useful.
Yeah. So you guys all wake up, begin set by your day. Bohai, as you guys sort of start waking up, gets up very quickly and quickly sort of packs up all of his things. And before you guys are really sort of up and about and ready to begin, you know, you're still sort of like making yourselves food and, you know, slowly getting your bits and pieces together. He's like up and got his bag packed. He's got his bow and quiver slung over one shoulder, and he's got quite a, you know, sort of a 3-4 foot stick which has like a gnarled like root on the top as like a little walking stick. And he's like, well, yes, well, if hopefully a dragon. Goodbye.
Do you want to see a real dragon?
Goodbye. And he just like starts quickly walking away. He seems quite disquieted by what he potentially encountered in the night.
I start playing fetch with Hugo.
Something like, what is he fetching?
Stix.
Okay. Roll an animal handling check.
Is he's fetching me?
And then roll a strength check for Hugo to drag Stix.
Animal.
That shouldn't be an advantage.
It
is
is. I do. I get advantage on animal handling checks when
Do
I
you?
know the animal.
Okay. I've forgotten that. Fair enough. Well, unfortunately, it's only a 7.
I know.
So you throw a stick, and unfortunately, goes slightly too close to Neo,
Oh no.
who's got food, and
Oh,
Hugo
no.
is just like trying to get like bits of, and Neo just starts playing like tug of war with like a bit of like dried jerky with him, and Hugo has forgotten that you tried to play fetch with him.
That's
He's
okay.
just playing tug of war with like a little strip of jerky with Neo. Neo eventually lets him have it.
He learned it.
But yeah, you guys can start your day.
Let's go, lads.
Let's go.
You reckon, Stix, if you pushed hard, you could reach the groves this evening, based on where you are. Now you've got this close landmark.
Yeah. I mean, what's everyone feeling? We could do that, sort out the stuff. Hopefully that evening when we get there, or the next morning, or whatever. Actually, no, because it's probably not a good idea to like show up, stay. Because by the way, it's just sleeping on the floor. This place is probably just as good as that. Not a lot of room in the place. It's more just sort of under a big tree. And so yeah, I mean, thinking about it, we could probably just like, you know, take a chill for today and then arrive tomorrow, and then we've got like all day to do that stuff, and then we can head off.
Yeah, I mean, you know the place better. So.
Yeah. Let's do that. So not intruding, not asking too much. Just does get pissy at me. Get free. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll be delighted. I don't even know. Maybe she,
Stix is just postponing what he thinks is going to be a telling off.
probably. I mean, I don't know.
It's when you've got something unpleasant or something you think is going to be unpleasant, and you just spend more time avoiding it than actually just doing it.
Slightly. It'll be fine.
No, I love it. Okay, so you guys have a relaxed day. You take it very, very gently. Stop, have plenty of rest, things like that. Enjoy the warm rare and things. And not much happens as you're not pushing hard to get there before the evening. And so you bed down early, take a comfortable long rest. Other than that, the day passes without event. Everyone just make a perception check for me while you're.
Perception check. Just make it a perception. Just make it a perception. Just make it.
Okay, so all of you pick up on an increase, except for maybe Neo, in the animals. You know, like, it's not unusual for you to spot, animals fairly regularly as you're going about your day. But there seems to be an increased number. You just, as you're, you notice, there seems to be an increased number. Whereas normally you'd expect to see a lot of animals on their own. You see sort of pairs or trios walking around together. Groups of birds, things like that. Maybe sort of like a fox or a few deer.
Is this unusual? Do I think this is unusual, or do I think this is a sign that we're getting close?
This is a sign you're getting close.
Okay, cool. Hey, Gregory, how's it going? Tunia, how are you, dear? I'm not saying any of this with speak with animals. I'm just sort of like Spider-Man walking, seeing champion walking, seeing the animals. Hey.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, he's doing the Spider-Man 3 dance.
It's
not a dramatic increase. You just, but you've all rolled 17, 18, 19 high perception checks to pick up on there is a subtle increase.
Are they like looking at us? Are they watching us, or are they just going about their own business?
You're able to get a little bit closer. You think they seem a little bit more potentially tame and friendly. They're still wild animals, and they still will, do what wild animals do. And if you get too close, they'll scurry off into the bushes and try and hide and run away and things like that. Deer will still spook when you get close or if you make a loud noise. But you're able to get a little bit closer. They don't bolt off at top speed. It's more of a hasty retreat than a fleeing, you seem to think. But that's the only sort of thing you remark on throughout the day. Another night passes, and you wake up. You reckon you're probably only a couple of hours at most from the grove. As everyone gets ready, Stix, you prepare to lead the way once more on the back of Elvis. You feel this sort of nervousness building in your chest. And you have maybe a bit of trouble sort of focusing on exactly where you're going. Elvis, is almost more of a guide than you are in this. Picking up on your subconscious bond, the knowledge that you have, he sort of tracks through and is able to find his way more than you're guiding him at this point in time. And eventually you reach, you start recognizing specific landmarks, specific trees and things like that, even though you haven't seen them for years. You know, you spent so much time in such close proximity that you know exactly where you are, and you spot, 20, 30 feet away, a clearing dominated by a single large tree.
Hello? Amaris? It's Stix. I'm back. You in there? I'll start heading down and approaching the tree.
Do you dismount Elvis or
Um,
riding in?
stay on Elvis for most of the way, and then as I sort of begin to get towards the like within meters of the tree, I'll mount.
Okay. So you dismount Elvis right at the edge of this clearing, and you step in, and things are just the way you remember them. Nothing seems to have changed, other than the subtle growth. You can see the tree has got fractionally larger. The trees surrounding it, some of them have changed. Maybe one has fallen and died and has left it, and there are a few smaller ones in its place. But the grass still seems, is still short and neatly kept. There are, wildflowers around the edges of the grove. There you can still see the hollow underneath the tree where you lived and slept, and the platforms and things amongst the branches of this incredible oak where Amaris dwelt. She dwelt up in the branches, and you chose to stay underneath in this safe hollow. And then as you get a couple of steps into the clearing, the others a little ways behind you, it's just a slight whistling sound, and then smack on the side of your head, and you're knocked in the dirt. And you hear a voice behind you. Your reactions have gotten slow. Come on, up. And a sword prods you in the ribs.
I like her.
I probably should have been expecting that. Hi, Amaris. Lovely to see you. Glad to see. Oh, okay. Get up.
And so, and then as you quickly stand up again, this sword swings at you again, and for an 18.
Fuck. Wait, no. I mean, I was riding Elvis. I wasn't expecting any of this. So
yeah, you're now you dismounted, so you're now on the ground, picking yourself up.
Yes, that would hit. I wouldn't have to go at this point.
Yeah, and this sword and you see it coming, and you're tensing yourself for the blow, and then as it comes in, it just stops and just taps you on the side of the ribs. Not enough, it's not like a proper cut, but it's enough that even under your arm, you're like, okay, yeah. Like when you sort of like when you stub your toe or you bang your elbow and you're like, oh, ow. But it's not like a real in front of you, she's just adopted this fighting stance, and you recognize this as, this would often happen. You would be surprised at random moments as part of Amaris's training and be expected to defend yourself.
Well, I'll just sort of stand there and look at her. Okay, yeah, probably should have seen that coming. Aha! And I'll use my channel divinity to try and grab her and restrain her.
Okay.
She needs to make a strength or dex save. DC 16.
Okay. So you cast Channel Divinity, and the grass around her like suddenly grows long. Vines shoot up out of it, start wrapping itself around her legs, and she like goes to lunge for you, and then is like caught in this. She's like, oh, for heaven's sake! The simplest of things. Even I'm getting rusty.
At which point, I sort of like draw out my shield and my sword and just sort of like point it in her direction. Maybe I did learn something.
Yeah, and then she goes to lunge for you. But even while restrained, does a 23 hit?
I mean, yes. Of course.
Yeah, and again, this blade comes in and just like it's like a double like it like swipes across and almost like catches the edge of your shield and pulls it away before cutting back in. And again, the blade just stops and then just wraps you on the side of the chest or like on the shoulder.
I'm losing.
Yeah, and she pulls herself out of the. Well, she doesn't so much as pull herself, but just wave her hand, and all the vines just shrink back into the ground.
Fuck.
Come on, then. Show me what you've learned.
Oh shit. Wait. I mean, wait. Oh god.
And as you hesitate, she just swings at you again and just
Jesus.
hits you on the top of the head.
I think probably just sort of caught up in the whole thing of it and not wanting to go in and see Brood. I'll get involved. I'll get involved, and I will.
Smite her.
Close. I'm going to.
Well, you remember from your training Stix, these training bouts, she would never try and like physically like cut you and like
Yeah.
but she would always do what she's doing and just like stop short and then just tap you enough that you're like, okay, that's gonna bruise in the morning. Yeah, that'll so all your training was always, you always ended up black and blue, and she would always encourage you to never hold back in return. So while she would be restraining herself, she would always encourage you to push.
Okay. In which case, I'm going to cast Thunder Smite on my sword. And I'm going to attack her because screw her. Oh! Let's go.
Yeah, 27 will hit.
She needs to make I think it's a strength save. DC 16. Let me just check. Let me just check on that little piece of information. Yes, strength saving throw.
Okay. Yeah, so you strike and she tries to stand her ground, but the power of this thunderous smite blasts her back, and she like rolls back and quickly flips her feet. Like, good, something new, a new trick. What else? And comes darting in to try and you can roll damage on that as well.
Oh fuck. Okay. Just for like roll damage on the attack.
Yeah, roll the thunderous smite damage.
Oh fuck! The sword was that was a good hit. And then the thunderous smite damage is 2d6. So darts. Okay.
Nice.
And then I will use. I don't fucking know. Keep metal on. I will, I guess, just come at her with my sword.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just to try and whack her again. See if mate.
He's already rising to her feet, you know, getting ready to face this, but doesn't seem to be quite as prepared as you land this second blow.
Haha. And can I like shove her to try and like, so obviously she's like just getting up, to try and keep her on the floor with my shield. Is that a thing I can do as like my other attack?
It would be,
Or is that like action?
you can replace one of your attacks with a shove attack.
Okay. Yes, I was slowly trying to get up, or just sort of like press the advance, hit her, and then just douche.
Yeah, so that would, instead of rolling to hit with your sword, that would be a strength. Like a contested strength athletics.
Okie dokie. Oh fuck, that's terrible.
Yeah, so she, you know, is quickly like, does the thing where she like almost like takes the momentum and rolls a little bit further, but rolls back up onto her feet. And as you're like rushing in to close this extra distance, you like go to shove her, and she just like reaches and like essentially like disregards the sword and like throws you. So make another strength athletics. Yeah, so you almost manage to keep your balance, but she takes all your momentum and just rolls you over, and you find yourself like tossed 10 feet further into the clearing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Am I like prone? Am I up? Am I...
I mean, yeah, you'd fall prone, but you know, it's in such close quarters that you could easily just roll around and get up. And like, she was technically prone, but the distance is so small, you guys aren't really moving anywhere, so it's, you know, half your movement doesn't.
I see. Okay. I'll just sort of run back at her, snaring strike, and try and hit her again. And I'll just say, look, I need to speak with you. I don't have time for this. And so I'll try and hit her again. 20, I'm assuming hits.
Yeah, 20 just hits.
Oh, fuck. Why does that surprise me? She's probably like fucking level 20 amazing. Oh. That's a thing. What is that? That's a strength saving throw? Strength
on the strength save.
God damn it.
So yeah, again, these plants try and bind her, but she's like,
Well,
you should know better than to try the same thing twice. And just quickly, like, pulls out of the vines. Damage just rolled twice for that for me.
it did. Take the first one. That's fine.
You said your shield was out, so one-handed?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then she comes back at you with a swift flurry of blows. Only 16 and 18 to hit.
Oh, none of them hit.
Okay.
Oh,
So, like, dancing out of the way of these vines, she, you know, pushes back towards you, 2 cuts, leaping out towards you, and this time you manage to get your shield in the way of one, and your sword. It's almost like, it feels like you're almost blocking at the same time on both sides because of how quick she's making these cuts, but you get your one with your shield and one with your sword. Good, your actions have improved.
Look, I don't have time for this. I need to speak to you about something. It's important.
Well, show me how important it is.
Arwen is howling with laughter right now.
Shit. Okay, fine. And I will cast.
And you guys watching, there is a very distinct difference. Like, you've seen Stix fight. He's a proficient fighter. He's putting up a good fight. But from an outside perspective, there is just a level of control that you see going on here from Amaris, that there's very little that actually is catching her out. You know, even when Stix is landing blows, there seems to be a level of teaching in it. If you were a trained warrior, you could see that she's letting these things happen as a teachable moment. Like, yes, that was good, so it's allowed to land. Whereas when it's bad, she stops it to like reinforce those. You know, when Stix is doing something good, it goes through because that's what would probably work on a regular opponent.
God damn.
She's letting you win.
No, this is... Fuck. A 24
Yeah,
and a
24 hits.
hits. Yeah, so I'll probably just sort of then charge after and try and swipe him a couple of times.
Yeah.
These damage rolls, man,
12
that's
damage.
not bad.
Is that all?
I'll go again. I'll go again.
18 unfortunately misses.
Oh fuck. She is hefty.
Yeah. An unnatural 20 and a 31 to hit.
Oh, what the fuck? That's not even a crit. Oh my.
You said 31.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
Why are we doing anything we're doing?
So again, you get like it's like a quick double tap, like one to the side of the knee, which bruises and like unsettles you, and as you sort of your leg shudders, the other one comes around and just crack on the side of your head, and you start seeing stars briefly.
Little Elvises running around.
just galloping up.
Come on, Stix, I know you've got more in you. Show me what you've got. Show me what you've learned.
See, the thing is, like, a lot of my combat stuff I've kind of just had all this time. So it's...
Show her the skunk. Skunk smell.
Give her a bit of skunk action. God, that sounded horrible. Okay. I will... Okay, here's an interesting thing. So, you turn about to say, can I Misty Step into the air?
Yes?
Land on her head.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have... So to put it in context, you would have essentially left Amaris as a level 1 paladin.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking I go to sort of like strike from above, but then suddenly just I disappear and then reappear like 10 feet above her, come down on her head.
Yeah.
And see if that works. No!
Unfortunately, like you teleport above, and her head snaps around quickly, like, and she just steps back. It's like ingenious. Possibly foolhardy.
And then just as I've landed on the way back up.
Yeah. 26. Definitely
26.
hits.
Go.
9 damage. Anything else?
I mean, I think that's all I can do, other than Divine Smite, which is tempting. It is very tempting. Cause I'm getting rather annoyed. She should not be.
Come on, Stix.
Yeah.
Show me your power.
Yeah. Fuck it. All right. You're not gonna You're gonna regret that one. So that's second level divine smite.
So 9 plus 13, 22.
2 damage.
Okay. Now, Stix seems to get a little bit frustrated. His ploy of going up didn't work, but he lashes out with coming up, driving himself off the ground. And with this like roar, his blade ignites in radiant energy and just smashes like into the side of her. And, like, she. It looks like it should, like, you know, you've seen blows like this cut things in half, and it just catches on the edge of her. She catches it with her sword, but there is a very slight, like, her sword is almost pressed back into her, and as she like pushes you off, Stix, you see there's little like graze in the side of her arm where she's like blocked this cut, and you forced her own sword like back into her arm. As she pushes you off, sheaths her sword. It's like, good. Who are your friends?
Oh, okay.
Arwen is rolling on the floor now.
Okay. Hi. This is Arwen. This is Klari. It's Neo. This is Elvis. My elk. My buddy. We have. Oh yeah, that's Lloyd Cedric. We have.
And this little one, Hugo's little scritches.
Oh yeah, and that's Hugo. I've come quite a long way to talk to you. I need to talk to you. A lot has happened since I've left, obviously. Yeah, can we talk for a minute? I have a couple of questions and I have a couple of things I'd like to speak to you about.
Indeed.
Oh.
There are things that we needed to tell you as well. Now that you're, I won't say old enough, but old enough.
Haha, she just called you old.
She wanders over to this giant tree and reaches for a knotted rope and just starts pulling herself up hand over hand into the canopy, like onto a platform.
Oh, we get up.
There is a rope hanging down.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll just start climbing. You guys can come. You guys can stay here. I think I got a game of Scrabble down in my couch. Except there's not really Scrabble. I just sort of little things on little wood chips. Because I got bored. I got loads of sticks.
Yeah.
Arwen has asked Neo to write out Stix is getting told off bingo.
Stix is getting. What is on a Stix is getting told off bingo card?
Gets whacked.
Right.
That's already crossed.
Okay.
Gets like a finger pointy.
Uh-huh.
Let me think of some more.
Okay.
What's happening?
Okay.
Every time something embarrassing happens, she's gonna get him to write it down and then cross it off.
Right. Okay.
To show him afterwards.
It's less of a bingo card, it's more of a tracker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just follow her up.
Yeah, it's like a knotted rope, so that you can, you've got like handholds and like little footholds as you like pull yourselves up. Anyone that can't, if anyone feels like they would struggle, then Everest will just like say hold on and just pulls the rope up with that person hanging on.
I want that. Fair enough. I can get up, but I just.
Yeah. Okay.
Wrong.
Raise me.
On the platform is a series of tables and like a set of tables, a table and a set of chairs. All look like they've been carved out of natural pieces of wood fitted together, and they all have very sort of rough, like they've been smoothed in the appropriate areas to make them comfortable, but they have like gnarled and like twisted appearances to them as the natural shape of branches and things. And there is a steaming pot of tea and several wooden cups waiting. And as you're all coming up, she pours you all a cup of tea. Well, why don't you start, Stix, and then we'll see how much of I need to say after.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start with probably a more pressing matter. So a while back, me and Arwen were traveling with. Well, we're just traveling on. We took a job, and we found Neo. And I'll just sort of look back and say, "Don't worry, I trust her." We found Neo underneath in a large tomb. He was stone, or many other people made of made of stone on these columns, but Neo turned not into stone, and a terrifying being rose out of this tomb and turned a village of people into undead, burned it to the ground, is now amassing an army in the desert. Neo, we believe, is very, very old. Very, very old. Slightly lost a lot of his memory, sadly. Potentially a knight of one of the knights of Aegis. Just wanted to warn you about the big undead army. Basically, that's a pretty big thing. Do you know much of the Knights of Aegis? Do you know anything about any of that kind of thing? Anything that might help him jog his memory a little faster or a little better, or?
Yes, the knights existed thousands of years ago. Is when they were founded. They were founded as protectors, guardians, in order to watch over the years. They fractured, splintered, faded, as all orders do. Some took the banner and used it for their own ends, and eventually, as most things, they died out. Their numbers became sort of so diluted amongst everything else that they no longer exist. They were supposed to be a unifying force, taking in all colours, creeds, races, in order to form bonds of unity. But like all things, they didn't last. And
Do you know who they're named after?
I believe the name was just one they chose to identify themselves, like all names.
See. Well, after a series of events, we believe that the leader of this undead army, this thing that came out of the ground and is now taking over the desert, is in fact Neo's father. That's sort of where we're at with all this. Anything you might know to chip in would be helpful, but guess that's the first bit of news. And the second one is I don't feel like I want to come back. This is sort of me coming to say goodbye.
At those final words, an incredibly large smile spreads across her face.
Oh.
You have learnt the most important lesson, it seems.
Eh?
There are so many things in it, so many people and animals and creatures that need help. You must go where you can, protect what you can. Be service to all, not just a small section. This is a lesson I couldn't teach you. This is a lesson you had to learn. You had to learn to care. You had to learn to care on such a grand scale that you would go out and protect everything. You cannot teach that into a person. A person has to be willing to take that mantle on themselves as a protector.
Mind blown.
And as such, I have a parting gift for you. For when you do decide to leave. And she reaches down and pulls a small chest that's sitting underneath the table off and flips the lid. And in it, there is a metal bracer. Or at least it looks like metal. And when you pick it up, you realize that this is the same wood. It's cold to the touch, like stone, because it's so dense and so slowly grown. It forms this bracer. And then it has, that goes around the outside of your forearm. And then the inside has like a leather section with lacing, so you can slip it on and do the lacing up to actually take it on and off. And on the outside of the bracer, there is like a large circle of wood. It seems like someone's taken sort of maybe like a 4-inch diameter log and cut a very thin sliver off of that, and it rests and it's affixed to the outside. And she says, "This will help protect you. This is something you always favoured the shield, so something I created in the hopes that when you returned you would be worthy of it." And she slides the bracer temporarily over her own forearm and says a couple of words in Elvish, and the circle of wood on it rapidly expands to the size of a full shield affixed to her forearm.
I got a God of War shield.
And then she says another couple of words, and it shrinks and closes again. And she hands it over to you and says, "When you are attuned to this, it will respond to your commands and protect you fully."
That's dope.
That's so fucking cool.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So you can take. It's a free action to just speak the words and get it to open up. It's a +1 to AC while deactivated, and a +3 shield when activated.
Oh, fuck.
Hold on. So my AC regular is now 18,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
but then with this shield, it's 21.
No, it's a total of +3.
Oh,
So
right. Okay.
when activated, it gives you +2, but it gives you +1 and then +2 on top of that.
Oh, I mean, still an AC of 20 is pretty fucking awesome.
I'm standing behind you.
I think that's so fucking dope. It's one of those things. It's like you don't realize how much you wanted it until you get it, and then all of a sudden you're like, "I'm never taking this off, ever."
But it is an attuned item.
Smell. It's an attuned item.
Yes.
Okay.
So
What do I have to do to attune to it?
you just have to take an hour and like a short rest to sit with it. So you can
Okay.
attune to it now. Essentially, like I'm not going to worry about that. You're
Yeah.
going to be attacked in the next 47 minutes and be unable to use it. But yeah, but it's an attuned item. So if you find other magical things that require attunement, you may have to pick them up.
Yeah. Fuck, that's so cool. Wow. That none of this is how I thought any of this was going to go. Thought there'd be arguments and insults and you hurting me a lot more.
This was not on the bingo card.
This is not the menu card.
No!
Imagine Neo's just there like, who wrote down gets an attuned shield? Who wrote down gets given a present? Because
Not me.
damn. Wow. Thank you.
Wow.
God, I'm a little lost for words, to be honest.
It's alright. It's something I do for all my students when they graduate.
Oh my god.
All your students.
Yeah.
Hold on. There's other ones other than me.
Yes, Stix, it's time I told you the truth.
A name!
I am amorous, but I am more than that. I am a Thistleblade.
The dear lady!
Wait, that's
I didn't tell them about this, so they have no idea what the fuck's going on.
wait.
Wait, what
The one you saw,
Yeah,
and
one that saved me.
you already know who you were there.
That is correct. I sensed you returning for some time, and there have been a few problems within the area, as I'm sure you're aware, so I have looked into some of them. Indeed, there is a problem I would like you to solve on your return to Yelion, but we can get into that later.
Why didn't you wave back? I waved to you.
I waved first.
I didn't.
Just gently tapped a hand on the table.
Oh, so I was waving back.
Yes, Stix. You know I am old, but I am far older
How old?
than you think. And when you look at her, you can see that, yeah, she does have. She looks to be in sort of her late like 50s. She's got like crow's feet around her eyes, there's lines on her forehead and the side of her mouth, and her hair's got a few streaks of grey in it.
Why can't we put those two together? Sorry.
I am known by several names. Lloyd, Amaris, and I believe the one you chose to follow.
You're
Zuriel.
good.
What?
What the fuck?
Before you ask, no. I am not a god.
What the
But
hell?
one does not need the power of the gods. One needs to one can get by on faith. By believing in a cause. By making an oath to serve. One can channel their own power. I am old. I don't know how old. Yes?
Do you know Neo? He's 3,000.
I don't believe we've had the pleasure to meet face to face.
We finally found someone old as shit, and they don't even know each other.
I am old like the earth. Because those things, those tenets that people believe a being like Zuriel, a being like Thistleblade embody. People believe in nature. People believe in hearth and harvest. People believe, even hunters believe in animals. It's not a traditional belief like faith, but they believe that the signs they see will always be the same. They will track, they will hunt, they will kill, animals will replenish. They believe in that cycle of birth and death. And it is those beliefs, when given, can be given consciousness, sentience. I am an idea at heart. There are other beings like me that exist. Beings far more powerful. Love for one, death for another. All things die, and all things know death, even if they do not understand it. Animals know death. They fear death. They fear being hunted. They fear being prey. They know it, but they do not understand it like a human or an elf would. But still, these understandings, these beliefs, give rise to a being of power. People fall in love, people fall out of love, people love their wives and their children, their mothers and their fathers. And the manifestation of love is an incredibly powerful being. So powerful that it could be perceived as being godlike in level. Whether gods exist, I cannot say. But powerful beings exist. And you will potentially out there find not another me, but a spirit of a powerful spirit of nature that believes in the same things, but maybe slightly different. Distance also matters. I stand before you as an elf because I am surrounded by elves. This is where I have chosen to be, but also where I am bound. I cannot walk beyond the forest. I cannot walk where the leaves do not fall, or I will start to fade and return here. Because as much as belief gives me life, belief binds me. Love and death and other concepts exist eternally everywhere, and those avatars can go anywhere, be everywhere. I minuscule compared to the power of love. Yes.
I have many questions. Also, you're like Tinkerbell. I can't handle it. You can only live if they believe. Try.
Okay, I hadn't drawn that comparison before.
Okay. I've forgotten my question. One of them, the lady in the Shattered Shore. Do you know her? Is she a being of oldness like you?
Who are you talking about?
The lady in the clouds.
Oh,
What's her
what was
name?
it? What was her name? It's not Hengist Forza. That's the place. It was.
I want to say Olga. But
No,
I think that's the
no, it wasn't Olga. It was. She is a lead healer. She is a not lead healer. A very prominent healer in Hengist Forza. Do you know her?
She knows you.
I know many healers amongst the orcs.
She knows you by name, but
Or she knew you.
Your other name.
Yeah, by another.
She knows you. Like besties. So if you have like a best friend, tell me now.
So when I've been going up to people this entire fucking time and saying, "Hi, I'm a paladin of the..." Shit.
A paladin of my person who raised me.
I.
I've only got the cow man. And
My mind is somewhat blown.
Zinda.
Zinda!
Zinda. She your mate? She friends? Friend or foe? Besties?
Yes, I am familiar with Zinda. We have had opportunity to speak.
Is she old like you?
She is different, but yes, she is similar. She is, I believe she is a manifestation of the orc's love of the sea. And thus her power is very much tied to the ocean.
That's pretty cool.
She existed. She is not as old as I. She came into being when the orcs settled and became who they are today. As I'm sure you're aware, having been amongst them, they have a great dependency upon the sea. And it is those beliefs in the sea, the clouds, the waves, the beliefs of a nation can create someone as powerful as Zinda.
And how do you live so long?
I live because of belief.
Oh yeah.
As long as there are those that believe
Do you
strongly enough. Yes. I still need to persist, and I can still be wounded. I could potentially be killed. And for some time, I suspect, a void in this belief system would manifest a new form of belief. The way these things have changed. I myself have changed vastly over the years. The rise and fall of this land has great influence over me.
3,000 years ago, who did you train?
It's not Neo, if that's what you're asking.
No, I thought it was going to be his elf friend.
His elf friend.
I don't know. There was elves in the place under.
Yeah, I mean there was elves.
And everything else, I was like, ooh, maybe Maybe it's connected. Ooh.
So,
No.
are you saying my training is done?
Oh,
Or are you saying that I'm not done?
until you just started.
Well, is one ever really done training? If you feel like you are the best you could possibly be, and as you currently are, is the best you could ever be to go out there and defend what's important to you, then yes, the training is done. But if you feel like you could be better,
Well, yeah, on a scale of like 1 to 20, I'm feeling very 9-ish. So I guess, wow, okay. This has rendered me, this is both Ben and Stix, very much speechless right now. Okay then. She's giving me this really cool thing and revealed she's basically a god. I feel like just leaving right now would be incredibly rude.
Can... What's happening?
the conversation divests a little bit. She, asks you a little bit more about, sort of what you've done, the threats you've faced, and so on. And it goes from this large scale, deep conversation to a little bit more light-hearted. And this is a little bit surprising to you, Stix, because you always remember Amorous being this quite strict teacher, and it's like when you go back to school after, like if you ever go back to school or you meet like a teacher or something like that after you've gone to school and you realise actually, you know what, they're just normal people, they're pretty chill at times, just, like, relaxed essentially, and the conversation becomes more natural. The afternoon, the morning, I keep forgetting where we are. The morning, passes into afternoon. Food is conjured for you. It's all very like berries from the, and fruits from orchards and things like that. Like all sort of very natural produce that you find. No meat. But yeah, you guys all have lunch together. The weather remains fine while you're here. You generally pass unless there is anything more you want to ask, you pass the rest of the day is passed away by essentially just catching up. She asks you all about your various lives, trying to get to know you all, it seems. So both Arwen and Klari. She's quite interested in where Klari comes from. Asking lots of questions about sort of the belief system you guys have across the sea and things like that. But yeah, if any of you guys have any more questions.
I should.
Yeah, I also feel like I should have some questions. And it's going to be a thing now. It's like a couple of weeks' time. We're going to be like, oh, we should have asked her about that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the minute, I'm like, wow. Any advice on taking down a ancient vampire? Probably vampire. Yeah, the shield would certainly help with that. Oh, holy fuck! This shield is so cool.
There are incredibly knowledgeable ones around. I can answer some questions if you have them about what I remember and recall. Unfortunately, it sounds like your activities are going to be confined to the desert for a time, a place I have not been and cannot go.
What if I take a leaf with me?
Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
You
like
know
that.
how Olaf had the little flurry so he could be around in the summer?
No, I'm not aware of this tale of Olaf.
Can't it just rain leaves?
Unfortunately not.
If I spread them like a flower.
There are powerful and knowledgeable beings in this world that know a lot if you know to ask the right questions. And there are scraps and pieces of information, I'm sure, scattered around that you can look for and draw on.
Okay. Are you also aware there was like a guy here? I'm assuming you were, because, I mean, yeah, of course you are. You saw the freaking guy. Because you were there last night. There's a bunch of people, like, moving in near here. Or, like, looking to maybe move in near here. They're having some problems with frost giants up north.
Yes, I'm aware of.
Don't know if yeah.
I believe one of them was, through happenstance, guided to a spot a significant ways east of their original dwelling, and they will be settling there, I believe.
You made the dragon turn.
I don't control the beasts of this.
You just guided him.
No, actually, the Drake was part of the reason, or part of the final mission I'd like to send you on, Stix.
Okay.
Something has caused the route you travel here. If you are to return to Yelion, if you could do so via a more southeasterly route. There is a grove that is causing some concern for me. One of the guardians, the tree sentinels, has become wayward. I'd like you to find out why, potentially put a stop to whatever is causing the turmoil within the forest.
Yeah, of course. Tree sentinels. What do you mean? Like a living tree, or a?
Indeed, a tree that has gained sentience and shepherds other trees now.
I see. And he's by wayward, like gone on a different path. Like he's led them somewhere astray, or maybe he's gone astray or something.
He's gone astray. You usually hear from a lot of things from time to time, but reports that they have become erratic.
I see.
Irrational, aggressive, clouded in nature. Used to be a shepherd, but seems to have become, by reports, more of a farmer.
Yeah, no, of course I can. I can definitely look into that. I mean, if everyone else is okay with taking a bit of a detour on the way home, we can quick look into it and have a little look-see. Yeah. Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, and then she'll give you like more detailed directions, essentially, of where to go and how long it's gonna roughly to expect to take you and that sort of thing. So you know where you're going.
Cool. Yeah, probably like chill out for a little bit longer, just sort of making some talking bits and bobs before eventually. Like how far is this away from us right now?
So it's a couple of days straight route from Yelion to here. So it'd be like around a day, day and a half.
Okay, well, we could get that half a day done now.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
Yeah, if we can maybe get that half a day done now, and then the rest of the time, just be a day straight there, get that potentially sorted, then head back to Themyscira, see if people have made their mind up, and go from there. Alright. Well, Amaris, Zuriel, whatever the hell I meant to call you now.
Amorous is fine.
Wow. Thank you, I guess.
It's been a
This
pleasure
is-
teaching you, Stix.
It's been a pleasure being taught. You took me in when I had no home, and you showed me my home was everywhere, so thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'll give her a hug, be on my way, and as I'm sort of like on my way, heading out, I'll go to where I used to like sleep underneath my grove, like a grove bit, and just leave my old shield just down there. Just like the painted one, just sort of leave it there. Give it a little nod, give it a little like, guess this is goodbye, and then
Yeah.
off.
Okay. You guys set off.
Whew. Just yeah.
And you'll like mount up Elvis, who comes over and just like reaches up and just like claps a hand on the side of you. Stay safe. And I shall be on the lookout for my next student.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever need any help with that one day, I'm not a very good teacher, but I can whack stuff good. So.
I'm sure you will equip yourself fine with whatever you set your mind to, Stix. And you will always have a place here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You can always teach more.
Alright. With that, I'll probably just give her one last hug and set off, I guess.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. That is... You're like fixed paladins. Because of the whole thing of like, do they have to be holy? Do they have to be not holy? Do they have to like have a god? Do they not? You like fixed it. The belief, man. That was awesome. That was holy shit.
Well, we've been building to that meeting for a little while, so
We have.
I've been doing some thinking.
I can tell that was. Whew. And it's just like, because I was thinking about it, it's like the way like I came to this decision of this whole thing because of all the stuff that's happened, and then you're just there. I was like, aha, that's what you're meant to do all along. But I thought I was like breaking the thing of being like, oh, it's my, she's not gonna like this is mine. Oh man, I feel played, but in a good way. That was bravo, sir. Give yourself inspiration.
Thank you. That's the
Wait,
DM
no,
that
don't.
should take it.
No, don't.
Permanently.
Because if the DM gets inspiration, that's just giving anything an advantage on an attack roll. Damn. That'd be wow. All right, let's get going, I guess.
Yeah, so you guys are in a very safe part of the woods. You travel for about half a day and find yourselves a likely spot to settle down for the evening. You set your watches, everyone takes their turn, get a long rest. Imagine Stix spends some time with his new shield, And yeah, I mean, if there's anything else anyone would like to
Yes, he does.
discuss,
I would like to tune to said shield.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can consider yourself attuned to that shield. If there's anything anyone would like to discuss, then you can. If not, we will just skip forward. Because honestly, there's only so much I can do with you guys rolling survival checks and random shit happening in the woods.
That's fair.
So, you travel on the next day, and in around mid to late afternoon, you approach the area you think you're supposed to be in Stix, and you push through the trees on Elvis and on Lloyd Cedric, and you find yourselves in a small nursery again. A large swathe of forest has been cleared. You can see the trees that were cut down have been placed around like borders. The branches left on them to screen almost, but you find a pathway in, and inside there are rows and rows of medium-sized saplings. All organised in nice, neat rows, evenly spaced. And as you enter, there is a smell reaches your nostrils, like a sticky, like sap, almost sickly sweet in the air. And it's enticing, but there's almost like an undercurrent to it. It's like something spicy in that you smell it and it smells enticing, but then the smell almost like sticks in the back of your throat and turns bitter as it clings in your nostrils. And for a brief moment it was appealing, it then lingers as this unpleasant odour.
Alright. That's gross.
And as you push through, looking around, you hear heavy stomping, shuddering through the earth. You can feel it even through vibrating up the legs of your mounts. And there is this roar and bursting through, sending like splinters of one of these big oaks that's been like laid on its side to form a perimeter fence, just like a shatter of like leaping like over the trunk but shattering through the branches, this huge roar. It almost seems like the forest has come alive before you can pick out the details, as a tree is thundering towards you, roaring. Its eyes are black. There is black tears like running down its face. Its mouth is open and you can see inside as it roars. Its mouth is just this black, burnt hole almost. And there's like foam gathering at the corner of it and dripping down the sides of its cheeks. You can see splits in this tree where sap looks to be leaking out, and again it is this black coloured sap. And that's where we'll end the session.
Indeed. Gets new shield. Immediately dies because, I mean, what good's this thing gonna do against a massive fucking tree? Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunate about the technical issues at the beginning, because I'd like to get into this bit, but I know you've got an early start, so we will call it on the
Thank you very much.
moment and begin by rolling initiative.
Indeed.